Did you know that one of the worst odors in human history actually saved countless lives and revolutionized an entire city? Buckle in, because this is the story of the Great Stink of London, a moment so pungent it changed the course of urban development forever. Let's set the stage. It's the mid-19th century, and London was a fast-growing, bustling metropolis. While the city was booming, its infrastructure was not. The River Thames, a lifeblood of the city and its primary water supply, was nothing short of a cesspool. Every time it rained, raw sewage spilled directly into the river. Industrial waste? Check. Dead animals? Check. Yes, the Thames was less of a river and more of a stew of humanity's byproducts. By 1858, things had reached their literal and figurative boiling point. That summer brought an unusual heat wave, and when stagnant sewage meets intense heat, you get what history remembers as the Great Stink. Imagine stepping outside your house and being hit by a wall of odor so bad, it makes your eyes water and your stomach turn. That's what Londoners endured for weeks on end. But why was this such a crisis? Surely bad smells alone couldn't bring a city to its knees. Well, it was about more than just the stench. At the time, people believed in the miasma theory, that diseases like cholera and typhus were spread through foul-smelling air. Since the smell was coming from the water, the Thames was seen as a deadly threat to public health, and they weren't entirely wrong. London had endured several cholera outbreaks in the years preceding the Great Stink. The connection between polluted water and disease wasn't fully understood, but people knew something had to change. Enter the unlikely hero of our story, Joseph Bazalgette. Who, you might ask? Joseph Bazalgette was a civil engineer with a vision that ended up transforming not just London, but the way cities worldwide approached sanitation. Hired by the Metropolitan Board of Works, Bazalgette laid out an audacious plan to construct an extensive network of underground sewers to carry waste away from the Thames. But let's not get too ahead of ourselves. Convincing the powers that be to invest in such a massive project was no easy feat. Parliament itself sat along the banks of the River Thames. During the Great Stink, the smell was so bad that officials installed curtains soaked in chloride of lime to mask the odor. Some suggested moving the government altogether, but Bazalgette argued, why move Parliament when we can fix the root of the problem? After weeks of hand-wringing and holding their noses, the government finally approved funding for Bazalgette's plan. Thus began one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects of the Victorian era. Over the next several years, Bazalgette and his team built 1,100 miles of street sewers and 82 miles of main intercepting sewers, diverting waste eastward out of the city. And this wasn't just a quick fix. Bazalgette designed the sewers with the future in mind. He calculated the size of the pipes based not just on the existing population, but on projected growth. His forward-thinking approach meant that London's sewer system could handle waste levels not just of the Victorian era, but of the 20th century, and even parts of the 21st century. Thanks to Bazalgette's work, the River Thames began to recover. Cholera outbreaks diminished, and London's air became breathable again. In fact, the improvements were so dramatic that similar sanitation projects were adopted around the world. Cities from Paris to New York were inspired by Bazalgette's revolutionary approach to urban hygiene. It's worth noting that even though modern science has debunked the miasma theory, the Great Stink remains a prime example of how necessity can drive innovation, and how a moment of crisis can lead to lasting change. Now, the Thames is celebrated as one of the cleanest rivers running through a major city, teeming with fish, birds, and even seals. So, the next time you turn on a faucet or flush a toilet, spare a thought for Joseph Bazalgette and the Great Stink of London. It took one of the worst smells in history to kickstart the field of modern sanitation. And while our cities today come with a new set of challenges, the ingenuity and determination of the people who solved this problem remain as relevant as ever. Even in its darkest or smelliest moments, history teaches us the power of turning adversity into opportunity. Could you have imagined that one man and a city crippled by stench could make such a lasting impact on the world? Now, that's a hidden gem of history worth remembering. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this story, be sure to like, share, and subscribe for more historical hidden gems. Who knows what fascinating tidbit we'll uncover next? Until then, stay curious.